So in this episode, we'll be talking about how to draft an email when you're approaching a professor for a PhD position.
And I'm Alok from Comenius University. So in the first episode of this series, we talked about the difference in PhD positions between US and Europe. And in second episode, we talked about how to find PhD positions. In third episode, we talked about how to draft a CV.
Yeah, so in this episode, we'll be discussing in detail about how to draft a good email to apply for PhD positions, to approach your supervisors, approach potential supervisors. So it is very crucial that this is the first piece of thing that a supervisor is going to read from your part. So it should be well written and well structured. So after this episode, you will have an idea about how to prepare a good email so that you have higher chances of getting hired for a PhD position. So let's dive into the episode.
Okay, so there are two ways in which you can approach a professor. First one is you can either write a short email and then attach a letter of motivation with it, or you can write a long email with everything in it and you can skip the letter of motivation part. So the first thing while emailing is which email ID you are using to email them. If you have an institute email address where the domain is from an institute or from a university, always use that to mail professors. It gives credibility to your email and to your application. And yeah, if you have an option, don't use @gmail.com or any Gmail ID. Always use your institute ID. But if you don't have access to any institute ID or if your university doesn't have a domain of their own, then of course you can use Gmail. But university one is always preferred.
So let's start discussing about the structure of an email. The first thing that you have to do is the subject line. So in an email, the first and important part in which the professor is gonna read that subject line in their inbox.
This was just a glimpse. Check out the full video on our channel, The Accidental PhDs.